Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to Game 3 of this Best of 3 The Decider. The ultimate finale of this series. It is between the green Terran player in the lower left position. It is LucifroN who took Game 1. And in the top right, we do of course have the orange Protoss player. It is MaNa who took Game 2. That means they're leveled at 1-1. Those of you who know what a best of 3 format sounds like and is, then you would have been able to work that out by the fact that it was Game 3 of a best of 3. But yes, so far these two are not doing anything too out of the ordinary. They are both just building workers, which is good news, because Game 2 is an epic macro game. It was really, really good. We saw Colossi, we saw High Templar, we saw Ghosts, Vikings, nukes, photon cannons in the middle of the map. Everything was going on in Game 2. And it was a real good display of, hey, what do you do in long PvTs? Well, these two showed us in Game 2, so of course if you didn't see it, flick over to my channel after this and go and give it a watch, because otherwise you're missing out on some great action in Game 1 as well, actually, so make sure you do see all three. And so far, let's talk a little bit about what these two are doing. They're both making supply buildings, which is good. Pylon and Supply Depot down. Daybreak is my favourite map by like a gazillion miles. It's such a good map. It's absolutely a joy to watch. It's a joy to play on, and it's a joy to cast, because there's lots of things you can do, but nothing really feels broken on it. Nothing really tunnels you straight to doing a certain strategy. There's no huge cliffs, there's no mass amount of dead space. There is some, obviously, but nothing too much. Drops are viable, but not overpowered. Air is viable, but not overpowered, and as a result, you can see some really interesting things go on. Of course, we haven't seen LucifroN go for anything too aggressive so far. Game 1, it was a 1 racks into a command center. Game 2, it was a 1 racks into 2 command centers, then into the additional barracks, obviously. Whereas MaNa has varied up his strategy so far. Game 1, we saw a gate nexus, then into a cybercore, then another nexus, so super greedy, and that's what lost him in the game in the end. Game 2, though, we saw MaNa instead go for a much more standard gateway cyber nexus into traditional kind of Protoss style. So all in all, we're going to wait and see what these two do. Maybe a bit of early aggression out of LucifroN. It's not usually his style, but we'll wait and see should he decide to. We do have the probe just waiting around here saying, hang on, is a command center going to go down or not? Same thing LucifroN's done every game though, is he has completed the wall off to hide any vision now. Command center's, there we go, I was going to say command center's definitely going down because we don't have any gas taken yet, so that's straight away a big clue. And yet again, MaNa going for the nexus off just the gateway, so one gate, no cybercore or gas before that nexus came down, so very economical builds out of both of these players for the moment. So this is going to lead to definitely a more macro game. They're both already committing themselves to the mid game. There's nothing you can do early on. The SCV gets in, sees everything needed, sees that, hang on, okay, so you're going on to your second gas, your cyber core's on the way, and I know your nexus came down before you got that cyber. That is everything you could possibly hope to scout for early game. You couldn't get better information if you were map hacking, basically. You know exactly what's going on. So, yeah. This is definitely gearing up to be one of the longer games of the series. There's the reason you know that, and the reason you know you can be very economical, and I wouldn't even be surprised to see a third command center chucked down by LucifroN. And the reason for that is solely based on the fact that, well, if my opponent's expanded so soon, I know he's not going to have any units out. We do obviously have already committed ourselves by the gas, so the factory will come down, maybe just a little bit of aggression, but a third early command center is something that we could definitely see LucifroN decide to go for, because we don't see any additional barracks yet, or really too much of a commitment to any 2-base plays. So as a result, maybe just wanting to stay economically ahead, knowing he will be slightly behind because of the nexus, such a quick nexus. So robotics facility following up from the gateway. Straight away we're seeing similar build to, well, no, we're not seeing a similar build to Game 1. I do apologise. We're seeing kind of a mixed build. Nexus first. We do have the Zealot coming down here. I thought it was a probe for a second. I was like, oh my god, is it going to be a third base? Because that would be so bold. But the SCV coming down is going to see the Zealot. Is the Zealot going to get the kill? No. The Zealot is not going to be able to intercept that SCV. The SCV will be able to run away and live another day. So far though, it's a 1 racks command center into a factory and then a starport. So 1-1-1 style play. We're going to see some Hellions coming out. Also likely well, it looks like a Banshee is quite likely coming off of this with a tech up there. So a lot of harassment coming out from LucifroN. Something that maybe MaNa isn't going to be prepared for, so this could take some early losses. Nothing really with Hellions and Banshee that are going to kill you outright for this caliber of player, but certainly enough to pick off a few probes there. And As a result, maybe throw your opponent a little bit off their stride, because if you do just sit back and turtle, you are basically committing yourself to a game where whoever is going to macro the most efficiently is going to win. And one way to avoid that sort of situation is going to put on a bit of pain, put on a bit of harassment, and try and disrupt what they can do. We do also have cloaking field coming down for those Banshees, so that's good news. Of course, if a decent number of observers come out, and we do have a second on the way now, then obviously that's going to be counteracted by the detection, but still, the Stalker count very low, only 2 of them out there at the moment, so that's not such good news. We will see 2 Banshee if we're getting cloaked, almost certainly. The Zed does spot those Hellions, which do split straight away. We'll see the probes getting pulled straight back, so this is good response out of MaNa, knowing that Hellions aren't going to be able to kill the Nexus, but could kill an awful lot of probes. The Sentry's got to be careful as well there. 2 probes do go down, but all in all, it was a relatively large commitment going for these Hellions, as opposed to just getting straight away stim en route. We do have the Banshees now on the way. More Hellions coming down as well, so very aggressive play. The Stalkers will be able to force the Hellions back for the moment, though. The Observer sitting there by the main base, so that's ready to pick up on any kind of Banshee play. Of course, if we look at the vision, we don't see any scouting yet of that starport, so that means that these Banshees may come as a bit of a surprise. You can assume slightly. The 3rd command center, though, on its way down for MaNa, so using this harassment, because ultimately if your opponent is defending, they are not going to be able to be attacking you in most situations. As a result, you should be fairly happy. Stalkers are warping in, so of course with the Observer there, they are not going to have too much fun, and LucifroN will instantly see that, hang on, okay, detection there, that's not going to work for me. We have the Stalkers keeping a good guard. I love the way they're all lined up on the ramps, just preventing those Hellions from easily being able to get in. Banshee will have to run away. God, 2 kills, so not a huge amount. The 2nd Banshee coming down as well. They could try a multi-prong harass. No additional observers coming out. Supply block there for MaNa, which is really going to be awkward. Although the chrono boost went down, it's not going to get it out in time, so basically this multi-prong harassment can be very irritating. That Banshee going to be able to get a couple more kills here, and he's pulling back thinking, well, there must be detection around, but as we can see, there isn't. Where even is that Observer gone? It's still chilling over here. The 2nd Banshee on its way through, though, into the main base, so we can see how this is pinning MaNa back, and I like the play by LucifroN, and he's definitely getting a large advantage of this by being able to get down that 3rd or the command center so soon, and at the 3rd base as well. So a couple more kills coming down. The 2nd Observer is there now, so it's going to be able to pull back, but this Banshee getting 3 kills, the other Banshee coming back in as well, but with the 2 Observers out is not going to have any fun. So 6 probes killed for 2 Banshees. Would have hoped for a bit more. The 3rd Nexus is on its way, and as we can see, it's only just getting started, as the orbital command of the 3rd base for LucifroN is already done. Twilight Count, the Templar Archives rather, on its way down, and obviously Twilight Council already finished to get that, so High Templar yet again is going to be the first splash damage of choice for MaNa, as opposed to a quick rush up into Colossus. The double upgrades getting chrono boosted out. And that's compared to the double upgrades coming out for LucifroN. So he is slightly ahead in the upgrades for the moment, but with the chrono boost, it's very easy for Protoss players to catch up. So I like the fact that he went for the double upgrades. So many Terrans just get +1 infantry weapons, and then actually start the 2nd engineering bay once the armory is down for 2-1. So LucifroN definitely getting more towards the later game, and it's one of the things you need to think about when you're harassing is how you're going to get ahead, because the harassment, if it doesn't work out, at best it will just keep your opponent's attention for a while. So how are you going to take the advantage? And LucifroN did that by getting down the 3rd orbit, getting down the 3rd base quickly, and also getting up the double upgrades. His armory nearly finished. He's getting up his Ghost Academy as well. I'm not sure if he got the read on that Templar Archive, so he did. So that's great news for LucifroN, because as a result, he's therefore going to be able to quite comfortably pick that up. There is one of the Banshees still remaining. It's on very low health though, so it does have to be quite careful. But I think he got another kill there, or it may have done, yeah, 4 kills there. So definitely making it a little bit more cost effective now. The infantry, Marine Marauder, medevac count getting higher for LucifroN, who has got a slight supply lead at the moment. Worker count wise, he's ahead by 10. When you factor the 3 mules in as well, that's going to give LucifroN very nice incomes compared to that of MaNa, as we're seeing right now, especially in the gas, because the 5th and 6th gas have not yet been taken. The Hellions still being absolutely brilliant at harassing. We're seeing 11 now, 12 workers killed totally for LucifroN at the moment. While the Hellions are now going to get cleaned out, that's fine. He's killed, 13 probes over this game. He's keeping himself nicely ahead on the income, and as a result, the later game is looking very positive for the Terran player right now. What MaNa needs to do in this situation is really need some nice engagements, needs to pick off his army effectively. It's something that Storm may allow him to do if he gets some good Storms and some good, basically, army-on-army forces, but the thing for LucifroN is he does have Stim done. He has Combat Shield. Concussive Shell not yet finished, which is quite characteristic. He doesn't get Concussive Shell early, on in most occasions. He has 1-1, but then of course so does MaNa, who already has 2-2 on the way and is slowly going to be catching up in those upgrades with the chrono boost keep coming down. That Banshee able to get a couple more kills as well, so relentless aggression. We see up to 7 kills now, so we've got an additional 3 probes there. This is the sort of thing that LucifroN needs to do to really get a staple of his advantage. We do see some zealots on their way through though towards the third base. We've got a couple of supply depots there, but no defense in the slightest. And if those zealots were to move in now, when all of LucifroN's army is out of position, it would be incredibly dangerous because, well, an engagement down here, should LucifroN start moving that way, would leave this third base open to attack. And I believe that completes the wall off, so that's buys some time for the Terran player here. But of course, MaNa, he's still getting a good army up. He's getting his robotics bay, which means that, hey, I'm going to be taking to Colossus. Ghosts are already on the field in quite a high number, so until they come out, LucifroN definitely ahead in terms of being able to deal with MaNa's army composition. No Vikings, though, started, so we saw in Game 2 that LucifroN actually had really good intuition of when those Colossi would start coming. It was around the 15-minute mark that he started producing Vikings anyway, so that's good. But in come the Storms, a good pickup at the moment, just running these units back straight away, and hopefully LucifroN realizes that pickup's gone down. He should have done, because there's quite a few units in there, and he will need those in the engagement. But some more weapons. We've got the scan going down, and apparently that medevac is completely unaware that it picked up a whole ton of troops, and that it could hurt LucifroN, because that's quite a significant amount of his army. Not going to be able to engage it. Good EMP hits. Nice Storms, though, are engaging one of these medevacs, and he's just surviving at the moment. And as we can see now, the medevac realizes, hey, I've got some units in here, dropping them out. We do have more engagements coming in. LucifroN with a big supply advantage for the moment. The Zealots were engaging at the third base behind us, but this is where all of the action is going in on. Of course, the Zealots have forced all of the SCVs to pull back into the safety of the natural base, but the third base for MaNa has been taken out. So losing a third base compared to just losing some mining time is always going to be good news. Most of MaNa's army has been taken out as well. Now, the Ghost doing a great job, some nice snipes coming off, and with only a handful of Stalkers and these High Templar there, this is almost certainly going to be LucifroN's game. We should see the GG out of MaNa shortly. He's got no key tech about it, and there we go, a GG after a fashion, and yeah, there's no more of this game going on as far as I'm aware. I'm just checking now. Oh, there we go, so it was finished. It was just a bit of a sigh, but yeah, as we saw, LucifroN really convincing though. His playstyle was really nice, the harassment was good, and it achieved everything it wanted. So I mentioned all that in the cast, so if you have any queries about that, go back to the harassment point and give it a rewatch through, because I mentioned everything that I really wanted to there about why harassment is good. So remember everyone, if you enjoyed the cast, make sure you like the video, leave a cool comment and subscribe. I get new games up every single day of the week, usually multiple games a day. And yeah, I will catch you all tomorrow for yet another new game. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye for now.